The Bitcoin supply shock is real. We are entering a historical bull market, and Bitcoin is doing something it's never done before. And breaking just this morning, it was announced that Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy just bought another 50,000 Bitcoin. We're going to show you why they just became one of the richest companies on the planet and why corporate FOMO is taking shape. As MicroStrategy was not alone in buying massive amounts of corn this weekend, no one is ready for what Bitcoin is about to do. This could be the cycle that destroys all the models. Better warn your neighbors, family, and your cyborgs if you have one. The Bitcoin strategic reserves are coming. Everyone is underestimating what it means. We have some numbers that are gonna blow your mind, and stay until the finish because not only is history rhyming and telling us something massive is coming, but the stars are aligning as well. This is gonna blow your mind. Hey, welcome back. I'm Rustin, head of news at Simply Bitcoin, and it appears that not only is the f***ing upon us, but World War III as well. We got a lot to get to today. Send it! Whoopsie, Saylor did it again. The man is absolutely relentless. MicroStrategy just acquired 51,780 BTC for approximately 4.6 billion. We're just a few weeks in from the announcement, and he has already bought 7.1 billion in Bitcoin, which equates to about 70% of his year one goal. I think it's pretty obvious by now. The man is going to buy way more than $42 billion of Bitcoin. And now look at this. Only 14 companies in the S&P 500 hold more assets than MicroStrategy. With its recent $4.6 billion Bitcoin purchase, MicroStrategy just surpassed Intel and ExxonMobil on the list. And I agree with Callahan. Expect them to be nearing the top 5 by the end of this year. And did you see that number they bought? Do you see what Saylor just did? He just basically scooped up a nation state's worth of Bitcoin over the weekend. What did you do? Don't worry, I didn't do much either. I watched the Broncos massacre the Falcons. It was incredible, but I was an absolute bum. You know who weren't absolute bums this weekend? Marathon announces 700 million convert to acquire more Bitcoin. Semler Scientific raises 21 million and acquires 215 BTC. Metaplanet, 1.7 billion yen debt offering to buy more BTC. I think you could say the corporate Bitcoin race is heating up. I don't know, probably nothing. Now do you see why Giga Chad may have been right when he said we were going to $10 million? Roll it!
When you think of it as digital gold, then it should replace gold. Gold's worth $10 trillion, and that takes Bitcoin to 500,000. But when you think of it as digital property, like replacing buildings and land and other long storeholds of wealth, then, you're up by a factor of 20 or 30 from there. It's much better than digital gold because I can move Bitcoin at the speed of light and I can program it to 1 million transactions an hour. You can't do that with gold. So it's got more utility, which means it's probably worth 20 or 30 trillion if it just replaces the gold. But instead of buying the Fontainebleau Hotel, which is a nice hotel, worth whatever billions in Miami Beach, instead of buying the equivalent amount of Bitcoin, if you bought the Bitcoin, you can move that to any city in the world every hour of the day, compose it, decompose it, recompose it, dematerialize it. And, when there's a nasty tax on it, you can just move yourself to a different jurisdiction where there's a better tax treatment. If you think of it like that, it's a multi-$100 trillion asset class. So at 10 trillion, it's 500,000. At 100 trillion, it's 5 million. So I think, we're marching toward $10 trillion, which is, $10 million a coin.
At this point, we have to ask, will any other publicly traded company be able to compete with MicroStrategy? Listen to this clip and then we'll tell you why it's even more bullish afterwards. Roll it!
They own 252,000 Bitcoin. The next closest company that holds Bitcoin has roughly, I want to say 23,000 Bitcoin or something like that. And that's Mara, the mining company. So when you compare how much of a lead MicroStrategy has relative to other companies in the entire equity market, they have more than 10 times the next closest company Bitcoin holdings. They also have more than 2.5 times more Bitcoin on their balance sheet than all publicly traded equities combined. So to me, the bull case is looking at their Bitcoin holdings as a technological advantage and a significant moat. Because if another publicly traded company were to try to catch Bitcoin's or MicroStrategy's Bitcoin holdings, they would have to spend a significant amount of money to catch them. So I estimate that if a company were to try to catch them from zero, they would have to expend probably anywhere between 45 and maybe $60 billion in order to catch them at 252,000 Bitcoin, because the price would start to run away. There are roughly 8 to 10 publicly traded companies that have more than $40 billion of cash on hand. And of those 8 to 10 companies, there's only one that has a sole leader that's got more than 50% of the voting rights that would be able to overrule the board of directors and start buying Bitcoin with their cash on hand. And that company is Meta. The unique component here is Meta also has their existing business. So the stock wouldn't necessarily trade as volatile as MicroStrategy would trade. And MicroStrategy still would serve a unique position within the market, offering these convertible debt issuances, which is effectively a Bitcoin-backed bond.
That was made before, MicroStrategy now owns 331,200 Bitcoin worth 30 billion cuckbucks. And they are now only 9,730 Bitcoin away from accumulating 100,000 in 2024. And for some reason, there's still people like Peter Zeihan that think Bitcoin is worthless. We have like finance dudes. I know what Bitcoin means. I just choose to stay poor. Well, I think it's time to strongly revisit all of your personal theses, because Bitcoin is currently ranked the 8th most valuable asset on the planet. And would you look at that? The favorite to become Treasury Secretary has hundreds of millions of dollars of exposure to Bitcoin. This is the guy that's probably going to replace Janet. Oh, and did you guys forget? The Bitcoin strategic reserves are coming. And as far as I know, the first head of state, aside from the legend Nayib Bukele, to ever suggest the use of Bitcoin to reduce debt, well, that was the Orange Man.
We'll hand him a little Bitcoin and wipe out our $35 trillion.
It's possible we have been underestimating the Orange Man for a long time, but it is official. The Bitcoin Act of 2024 introduced in the U.S. Congress. You know, the bill that says the U.S. is going to buy 1 million Bitcoin over the next 5 years? Probably nothing. Better get on board the ark, because the global race to acquire Bitcoin is here. I cannot underestimate how bullish and insane things are about to get. And if you look at the dominoes are falling, boom, Polish presidential candidate, I'm not even going to try that, follows Trump's lead and vows to create a strategic Bitcoin reserve if he wins election. Here we go. The Bitcoin supply shock has arrived. And you know what they say, slowly, then suddenly? Well, if it was gradually, then it would be gradually. It wouldn't be suddenly. And you remember we said, Bitcoin's doing this thing it's never done before? And we're entering a bull market where nation states are competing? Hope you get a pair of Depends on right now. Boom! This is the first time in Bitcoin history that exchange reserves are declining during the bull cycle. They've now hit levels not seen since 2018, with institutional and nation state adoption growing. None of us are bullish enough. I think this guy's right. I don't care what anyone else thinks. If we get the strategic Bitcoin reserves, the price is going straight to 7 figures. If you're selling Bitcoin right now, I think it's a sure sign of mental illness. And speaking on that supply shock, let's look at some numbers. When the U.S. government passes the Bitcoin bill, they are committing to buying 1 million Bitcoin. They currently hold about 230,000 Bitcoin, so they need to purchase 770,000 over the next 5 years. 5 years, that comes out to 1,825 days. Dividing 770K by 1,825 gives us approximately 422 Bitcoin a day. You know what that means? This means the US alone will absorb the daily Bitcoin supply for the next 4 years. And after the 2028 halving, they'll absorb double the daily supply for 1 more year. And meanwhile, MicroStrategy plans to buy about 170,000 Bitcoin in the next 3 years. Meanwhile, just in, the Pentagon is unable to account for like 824 billion, failing its, what is that? 7th consecutive financial audit. How is this even possible? Have they ever passed an audit?
Oops. I just forgot about that $300 billion.
Article in 2021 says they've never passed an audit.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. There we go. So it's rules. It's rules for thee, not for me. They've never passed an audit.
There's never?
Yeah.
Come on, never?
Yo, Elon, Vivek, can you do anything about this? Roll it!
This is about restoring self-governance and accountability in America as well. Elected leaders, if they make the wrong decisions, voters have a great choice. You can vote them out and remove them. Most of the people making these decisions, from healthcare to the Department of Defense, are failing on effectiveness because they have no accountability. Historically, it's been the view of many scholars to say that those people could not even be fired. Now we take a different view with the environment the Supreme Court has given us in recent years, and we're going to use that in a pretty extensive way, Maria, to move quickly.
Okay, but what about this, guys? WTF, guys? Did Brando just okay World War III and vanish into the Amazon? Is he going to do ayahuasca in Peru? What in the Sam hell is going on around here? Well, I can tell you one thing. Something massive is coming. And if history rhymes, a decentralized revolution could be upon us. Now, before we bring it home, look at our likes!
I gotta pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
Enjoying the show so far? Don't forget to like and subscribe for the best in Bitcoin delivered to you daily. Give us a pap while we take a moment to recognize our sponsors, the masters of Bitcoin's self-sovereignty, the Bitcoin way. Guys, being that we live in clown world, it's pretty easy to understand the why Bitcoin, but over at the Bitcoin way, that's where you're going to learn how to Bitcoin. Check out their newly revamped website. If you're looking to become a master of Bitcoin self-custody, no one makes it easier. From setting up your first wallet node to inheritance planning to everything Bitcoin sovereignty, they got you covered. Hey, and if you're looking to get started, you can schedule a free 30-minute consultation with the Bitcoin way using that link in the show notes. Big finish time. Okay, now I know we know weak men create hard times. And I think it's obvious the clown world is flaring up like herpes. And on top of all that, U.S. bankruptcies have hit their highest level in 14 years, probably nothing, economy strong. And of course, like we showed you earlier with the what have you happening in the jungle, it now appears, as RFK Jr. puts it, the anonymous men in lanyards who are currently running the U.S. foreign policy apparently want to start World War III before they leave the White House. But hold on. It's always darkest before the dawn, my friends, and the dawn is beckoning. Boom! Pluto may have just signaled hyper-Bitcoinization. The celestial dwarf, apparently Pluto, enters Aquarius. It means to expect revolution and rebirth. Yeah, I was like, okay, whatever. But then if you look here, Pluto last entered Aquarius during the American and French revolutions, fourth turnings, and this transit signals decentralization, dismantling of hierarchies and challenges to elite power. You gotta be kidding me. I don't know what all that means exactly. I am not an astrologist, but I do know this. It's all extremely bullish. And you know what we're going to do when we end the Fed? We will end the bankers' export of destruction. Empires that thrive on war will always find a way to create it. But my friends, Bitcoin fixes this. Freedom, it brings people together. And you know what we should be worrying about is this. This is something we can unite around. Common enemy, which appears to be the Octopi. It appears they've been plotting. The peaceful revolution is upon us. We should increase our ceviche intake, possibly eliminate this threat, but strap in because the global race to acquire Bitcoin is here. What is the most bullish outcome for Bitcoin, say 6 months from now? Well, ladies and gentlemen, if we defeat the war machine, in 6 months, we could be buying tallow french fries at McDonald's using Bitcoin. The golden age is upon us. Hey, stay tuned, set those notifications. We have a lot more coming your way. Click here to keep that bullish party going, and I'll catch you all next time. Peace.
If you prefer to go down with the ship, you.